Hello and welcome back to the Amateur Entrepreneur. This is your host Amit Sharma, and today we are going to read the 8th chapter of the book named as The Story of My Experiments with Truth. It's an autobiography by Mahatma Gandhi, and the name of chapter 8 is Stealing and Atonement. And why I am reading this book is there are few things which are really gonna help me in the future. The first thing, in order to improve my vocabulary, I am using the all those new words which I am going to discover from this book. I will memorize them and try to use them in my daily life so that my vocabulary will be improved, and along with that I am trying to communicate on daily basis using this camera. So with this my pronunciation will also improve, and this is what, and along with the same along with these two, I am also going to know about Gandhiji, which was a great who was a great leader, I could say. So there is no doubt about it. He was a father of the nation, the one who made the nation. So let's start the 8th chapter, and even before starting I got the new word atonement. So let's write it down, and I think on Sunday, maybe I'll try to narrate all those new words which I have discovered or which I have memorized from these chapters so far. So I'm gonna memorize them, and on Sunday I will narrate them to you with their respective meanings. So let's start by the first new word of the 8th chapter, that is atonement. Let's start it. I was still to relate some of my failings during this meat eating period and also previous to it, which date from before my marriage or soon after. A relative and I became fond of smoking. Not that we saw any good in smoking or were enamored, new word, which means to be filled with love. So, enamored of the smell of a cigarette, we simply imagine a sort of pleasure in emitting clouds of smoke from our mouth. My uncle had the habit, and when we saw him smoking, we thought we should copy his example. But we had no money, so we began pilfering stumps of cigarettes thrown away by my uncle. Pilfering, pilferings is like, I think it's taking a puff of the stubs of the cigarettes. But let's write it down. It's a new word. These stumps, however, were not always available and could not emit much smoke either. So we began to steal coppers from the servants' pocket money in order to purchase Indian cigarettes. But the question was where to keep them. We could not, of course, smoke in the presence of elders. We managed somehow for a few weeks on these stolen coppers. In the meantime, we heard that the stalks of a certain plant were porous and could be smoked like cigarettes. We got them and began this kind of smoking. Okay, but we were far from being satisfied with such things as these. Our want of independence began to smart. It was unbearable that we should be unable to do anything without the elders' permission. At last, in sheer disgust, we decided to commit suicide. Okay, this is interesting. This is getting interesting. But how were we to do it? From where were we to get the poison? We heard that Dhatura seeds were an effective poison. Off we went to the jungle in search of these seeds and got them. Evening was thought to be the auspicious hour. We auspicious is like something which is good for the particular reason. Maybe, but I'm not sure. So let's write it down too. We went to Kedarji Mandir, put ghee in the temple lamp, had the darshan, and then looked for a lonely corner. But our courage failed us. Supposing we were not instantly killed, and what was the good of killing ourselves? Why not rather put up with the lack of independence? But we swallowed two or three seeds nevertheless. We dared not take more. Both of us fought shy of death and decided to go to Ramji Mandir to compose ourselves and to dismiss the thought of suicide. Here, actually, suicide is really tough. Tough as well as, I could say, really bad thing though, but it's really tough. I realized that it was not an easy to commit suicide as to contemplate it. Contemplate. New word. And since then, whenever I have heard of someone threatening to commit suicide, it has had little or no effect on me. Okay, the thought of suicide ultimately resulted in both of us bidding goodbye to the habit of smoking stumps of cigarettes and of stealing the servants' coppers for the purpose of smoking. Ever since I have been grown up, I have never desired to smoke and have always regarded the habit of smoking as barbarous, dirty, and harmful. I have never understood why there is such a rage of smoking throughout the world. I cannot bear to travel in the compartment full of people smoking. I became choked. But much more serious than this theft was the one I was guilty of a little later. I pilfered the coppers when I was 12 and 13, possibly less. The other theft was committed when I was 15. In this case, I stole a bit of gold out of my meat eating brother's omelette. This brother had run into debt of about 25 rupees. He had on his arm an armlet of solid gold. It was not difficult to clip a bit out of it. Okay, well, it was done and the debt cleared, but this became more than I could bear. I resolved never to steal again. I also made up my mind to confess it to my father, but I did not dare to speak. Not that I was afraid of my father beating me. No, I do not recall a la. Ah, that's the main issue. Like sometimes these words get uh, bumbled up and my tongue gets confused. I do not recall his ever having beaten any of us. I was afraid of the pain that I should cause him, but I felt that this risk should be taken. that there could not be a cleansing without a clean confession. Okay. I decided at last to write out the confession, to submit it to my father and ask his forgiveness. I wrote it on a slip of paper and handed it to him myself. In the note, not only did I confess my guilt, but I asked adequate punishment for it, and closed with a request to him not to punish himself for my offense. I also pledged myself never to steal in future. I was trembling. Trembling is short of shaking. As but should I write it down? Trembling, shaking, quaking. As I handed the confession to my father, he was then suffering from a fistula and was confined to bed. His bed was a plain wooden plank. I handed him the note and sat opposite the plank. He read it through, and pulse drop trickled down his cheeks, wetting the paper. For a moment, he closed his eyes in thought and then tore up the note. He had sat up to read it. He again lay down. I also cried. I could see my father's agony. If I were a painter, I could draw a picture of the whole scene today. It is still so vivid in my mind. It sounds so deep. Those pulse drop of love cleansed my heart and washed my sin away. Only he who has experienced such love can know what it is. And the hymn says, only he who is smitten with the arrows of love knows its power. This was for me an object lesson in ahimsa. Mhm. Then I could read it in then I could read in it nothing more than a father's love, but today I know that it was pure ahimsa. When such ahimsa becomes all embarrassing, it transforms everything it touches. No, it's not embarrassing, it's embracing. When such ahimsa becomes all embracing, it transforms everything it touches. There is no limit to its power. And ahimsa is the what we could say the peak of humiliation is ahimsa. This sort of like according to Gandhiji, that the peak of humiliation is ahimsa, which also triggers you to build confidence and to act on something you should work upon. This sort of sublime forgiveness was not natural to my father. I had thought that he would be angry, say hard things, and strike his forehead, but he was so wonderfully peaceful, and I believe this was due to my clean confession. A clean confession combined with a promise never to commit the sin again, when offered before one who has the right to receive it, is the purest type of repentance. Okay. But what if that person is not the one who loves you? He will use this thing against you because you already committed that crime sort of thing. Okay, yeah, so it's also mentioned in the one who has the right to receive it. Okay, but yeah, you made a mistake. And you are doing a confession, so you must be prepared for the outcome. You must be prepared for the punishments, though. Okay, new word repentance. I know that my confession made my father feel absolutely safe about me and increased his affection for me beyond measure. And the chapter ends. So from chapter 8, I got 6 new words, and now it's time to recall the chapter 8, Stealing and Atonement. So in this chapter 8, Gandhiji talks about two incidents. The first one was related to the smoking, and second one was related to the stealing of some sort of gold part from the armpit of his elder brother. So first he mentioned that he started to smoking by looking at his uncle's. Actually, his uncle was also fond of smoking, so like looking at him, getting inspired by him, he also sort of tried the cigarettes. He used the stumps of the cigarettes and puffed them, the used stumps of his uncle's cigarettes, and tried to use them, but it was not enough because with those he could be able to puff few times. So he thought of stealing money from his servant's copper and use that money to purchase the Indian cigarettes. Then he started smoking, but he he was not fond of smoking. Like if like he made an example, like if he has to sit in a room full of people who are smoking, then he is definitely gonna get choked by the smell of the cigarettes. So he was not fond of the smell of the cigarettes, even though he mentioned that the why the world is being carried away by the cigarettes, why people are wasting money on the cigarettes, but because it's just a waste of time and money and everything. So then again he mentioned that before stealing the servant's copper, he said that it was really tough for them to buy cigarettes because at that time it was for that at that time he didn't have that much money with him. So even before stealing, they tried something, I could say something new. They took a plant whose leaves may be used as a cigarette. So they tried that, but they were not happy with that. So after that, they stole the money, the servant's copper, and used those to buy the cigarettes and puff them. And how he lost, or how he what we could say, the overcome his infatuation of cigarettes is how, yeah, is like he thought that in order to smoke they must be independent. So but even before doing anything, they have to take the permission from the elders, and so they thought that if they don't have independence, which means their life is not worth it. So he and his friends both decided to commit suicide, and in the meantime they found the perfect poison, which was the seed of a particular plant, I could say, yeah, of a particular plant named as datura seeds. And they thought that they could be perfect poison, but there was one issue with those seeds. Like if you want to eat them, they are going to take some time to kill you. So first they thought of they collect the seeds, and then they went to the temple in order to make the you could say the final bye bye. it won't be bye bye. It there must be a word like the final the final goodbye. So after that, they worship the god, and after that they thought of finding a lonely corner, and in the meantime they ate I think a couple of seeds, but they got frightened about the consequences of being committing a suicide. I think they got afraid, and instead of attempting to suicide, they thought of, okay, there's no need to commit a suicide. Instead, we can live with a life uh, of taking permissions from my elders before doing anything. So after that, he overcome the infatuation of cigarettes, and so this was his first case of stealing the money. And the second one which he mentioned was that he stole the part of gold from his brother's omelet, uh, but later on he came to know that his elder brother was in a debt of about 25 rupees, but after that that thing maybe got cleared. Uh, Maybe I don't know how. So, but still, he had that thing in his mind that it was really bad. So later on, at that time, his father was at bed rest. So he thought of making a confession about stealing the gold omelet. So he wrote it on a paper, and mentioned that he is the one who did it, and he want his father to, what you could say, to punish him, but don't punish himself, like his father, for the mistakes of Gandhiji. So he wrote it down on a paper and he handed it over to his father, and his father read it through, and while reading his father's got emotional, I could say. The tears got out of his eyes, and like it's a scene, you could say, like the tears dropping from his mother's eyes, and they were landing on the paper. So after that, his father tore the paper, and um tore the paper, and he said his father closed his eyes, and did nothing for some time, and he but what his father did nothing, but I think he smiled, not a smile, but he did nothing. uh, like the tears came out of his eyes, and he uh, told the paper told, or I could say tear or told the paper, and throwed it away, and he closed his eyes, and what Gandhi think that his father was gonna punish Gandhiji for committing this thing, and he's gonna beat him, not beat him, but gonna say some few bad words, I could say, and he's gonna beat his own forehead in an agony. But the things were different, because this thing made Gandhi's father to to I don't know what, like, but yeah, it according to Gandhiji, it made him feel like it's a what it made him feel like. Um, like uh, like Gandhiji, like it made Gandhi's father felt like that his uh, that Gandhi's intentions, not the intentions, but Gandhi is a good person, maybe sort of that thing. So he was confident that yeah, Gandhi is a good boy and he is proud of him now because he's the one who is ready to make the confessions and ready to take the punishment, and he is telling this himself. So was the this was the second case, and at that time Gandhi said that it was the first time when uh, he showed the power of ahimsa. Which, but in the overview, he said that ahimsa is humiliation, the extreme of humiliation. Yeah, if he did not make the confession that, then yeah, okay. Suppose if he made the confession and his father starts beating him, then it's a humiliation. But things happen differently. But Gandhi was ready for the humiliation. So yeah, this is the first incident of ahimsa according to Gandhi. So after that, after the what and of the chapter, these were the two cases only, I think, and yeah, I think yeah, that's it. That's it. Nothing more. Okay, so that was a short summary of chapter 8 named as what was the name of chapter 8? It was Stealing and Atonement. Okay, now tomorrow we are going to read the 9th chapter, which is named as My Father's Death and My Double Shame. This is what we are going to read tomorrow, and from the 8th chapter I got 60 words which I will memorize because there are some pending words from previous chapters, like from chapters 6, 7 and 8, which are pending to be memorized by me and to improve myself. So that's it for now. So that's it for today, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Till then, tada, bye bye, and thank you. Bye.